Are you looking to build your first gaming PC, but just have no clue where to start? I have someone here that has years of experience and has built thousands of PCs to date, and you might recognize him.
Zach called in an expert PC builder to figure out exactly where you need to start and where you need to end to get yourself a custom gaming PC planned. So I really like to use PC Part Picker as my shopping list, as I call it, and all you gotta do is click Start Your Build. There is a lot of pre-built systems as well. If you go to guides, you can actually find systems that are already made, but obviously part of the fun of building your gaming PC is picking the parts out yourself. The first thing I like to do is figure out your budget. Let's say we have $700 to spend. A fairly modest, very entry-level gaming PC. My first thought is to go with something like an Intel i3 or a Ryzen 3. And of course, to pick your GPU and CPU, which are the most important parts, you really need to know what you're doing with that PC. Let's say the $700 PC, we're just going for the best bang for buck gaming system that also looks pretty decent. I'm probably going to be picking out my CPU first, which I think I'm going to go with the i3 12100F. Now, the reason we go with the 1200F is because it is $98, sometimes cheaper, and the F means it does not have integrated graphics, which we don't need because we're using a graphics card. It's a 4-core 8-thread awesome CPU, and so now at this point I'm going to go ahead and choose a graphics card. So I have done this for a long time, so I can have general ideas on pricing, but I'm probably just gonna do like the RX 6600 to be safe. It's a graphics card that has 8 gigs of VRAM. Really good card. It'll basically play any 1080p title you could possibly throw at it at usually like a medium setting preset, and you'll get well over 60 FPS. You can even get into high refresh rate with this card and even get into 1440p with it as well. So I'm just gonna choose like the best deal I can find, which is this Power Color one for 190 bucks, which not too bad. You can definitely find some really good deals on eBay as well. I don't really recommend buying a lot of parts on eBay, but the graphics card is one that I highly recommend if you're willing to find a good deal. So now that I have my two most important parts figured out, I'm at $288 total. So now I see I'm at $288 after picking out the two most expensive parts. So it makes the rest of the build pretty easy to figure out. We can definitely afford some more nice stuff. So let's go ahead and get like the other essentials, like the motherboard. So we're gonna get a B660M, so we have a little bit of an upgrade path. You could go with the B760M as well. This is another thing where you're gonna have to learn about CPU sockets. I just know off the top of my head that 12th gen, 13th gen, and 14th gen are all LGA 1700. I really like this board right here, the ASRock B660M Pro RS, because it has 4 RAM slot, it has 2 4-pins for the CPU, meaning you could go up to like an i5 or an i7 if you get a good enough power supply, and it's just an all-around really good board that looks really nice for the price. All right, 383 bucks, so we've used over half of our budget. We're gonna go ahead and do 16 gigabytes of DDR4. And this is where you can choose if you want like RGB RAM or not. I think I'm gonna just go with this LPX 16 gig kit. It's 3200 megahertz. It is dual channel. It's very important. Don't buy a single stick of RAM because you will lose performance not going dual channel. So now we're gonna choose our storage. I kind of want to have like a good storage upgrade path. I want to not have to upgrade my storage anytime soon. I'm gonna go with the 1 terabyte, and realistically, this can handle a Gen 4 NVMe. That's a whole separate video if you want to figure out the difference between Gen 3 and Gen 4, but this board and processor can handle Gen 4 speeds. We'll do this Kingston NV2. It's a really slow Gen 4, but it's pretty cheap for the price. So we're just going to go ahead and add it. It's a whole terabyte of storage too. Not too bad. And the i3 does come with the stock cooler, but I'm going to wait until I get towards the end of my budget to figure out what I have left for a cooler, if I even want to get one. You could just run the stock cooler and it'd be just fine, but for aesthetics and cooling purposes, we might get a nice one. Let's go ahead and choose our case. So we have a micro ATX board. For looks purposes and to save money, we're going to go with the micro ATX case because there's no reason to get a full-size case when you have a small motherboard. I already see one of my favorite ones for budget builds, the Montek Air 100 ARGB. It's tempered side glass that's hinged, so it actually is a toolless side panel. Tempered side glass, so it's really nice. You have a full power supply basement to hide your power supply and all of your cables, and on top of that, it's ARGB. It comes with 3 ARGB fans, which is a really good deal. Actually, no, it comes with 4. It even has an exhaust, which is pretty rare for that price, $60. We're at $551 at this point. We can get a pretty good power supply. Power supply is something that people tell you to often not cheap out on. Let's see, the CX650M, I think that would actually be a pretty good choice because at 650 watts, this build right now with the 6600 and the i3, it'll tell you what the estimated wattage is, which is 305. I promise you it'll never pull that much. The most you'll ever see it pulling from the wall in this configuration will be about 210 watts. I just know that from testing so many systems. We have more than enough headroom to easily go with like a 4070 down the road and like a 13th or 14th Gen i5, this system will support those upgrade paths that easily. So we're now at $621. Let's go ahead and see if we can find a cheap tower cooler. I already see the one I like. Deep Cool GameX, the AG400, we've used this one a lot. It's $30. It's a really beefy cooler, way better than the stock cooler. And that puts us at $651, which that's before tax. So technically we're pretty much there. At this point for the operating system, we normally would go Windows 11 on this, Windows 11 Pro. Don't pay attention to those prices. That's like the Microsoft price. We really recommend buying from another distributor, or you can even get a key from us with the USB for $30. So we'll just go ahead and put that for the price, $30. That is something you can get from PCBros.tech, $681.90. Once you've been doing this for a while, you can really just hear a budget and get a build really close to that price. The hardest part that most people struggle with is just compatibility. That's a whole separate video in itself because compatibility can be pretty tedious. You need to know what CPU you compare with what motherboard, what RAM does that motherboard actually take, and also you need to figure out what case you need to get, and that's usually based on size of the motherboard. So if you get a micro ATX board, we really suggest getting micro ATX case. If you get a full-size board, it will not fit in a micro ATX case. You need to get an ATX full tower or mid tower as they sometimes call them. I mean, at this point, I'm pretty happy with this build. It actually tells you like where you can get each one of these products, but I would normally recommend just going over here to Amazon and then just basically doing this exact thing. Because like I said, what you're doing in PC Part Picker is more of a shopping list. And hey, look at that. For an extra $25, you can go straight to 14th gen, which is quite the upgrade. I would actually do that personally. If you want to get the same one, add it to the cart. And then a lot of people have like really good Amazon credit cards where you get 6% cash back and stuff. I really like using PC Part Picker as my shopping list, but then going over to Amazon, eBay, Newegg, those are my favorite places to buy those parts from. And yeah, and you know, with PC Part Picker, if you do press buy through them, it does give them some affiliate kickback. So if you want to support PC Part Picker, you can definitely do that. Yeah, this would be actually a pretty awesome build that I wouldn't be surprised if I planned for a PCBros custom. So I'm going to go ahead and roll back over to Zach now to talk about some more things, and hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial.
Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed Jackson's explanation and breakdown on building your first PC. Let us know in the comments what PC you are planning to build, and maybe there's something we can do to help. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.